gardening, and I hear that you've grown some squash and zucchini. Tell me a little about that. Any tips about growing those?
Well, last year was my first year growing, and I have had a lot more than I expected. I was giving them away left and right, and like I say, there's only so many times that you can prepare the same things the same way. So when I grow them, they're really easy to grow. You can grow them from seed. You can buy the little plants and transplant them. Just let them go. Pretty much. These you don't need to trim them. You don't need to do anything like that. They kind of take care of themselves, and the discarded leaves kind of make their own mulch and retain moisture. Make sure you give them enough space to grow, because they're going to get huge, and let them, but just make sure that they're not crowded in together. When you're picking your zucchini and squash, pick them young. You want to pick them young. You don't want them to be over 5 or 6 inches. The longer they grow, the more tough they're going to become. The more hard the seeds are going to be. The skin is going to get really tough, and they can get huge if you let them. But you want to pick them young. You want to pick them. Some people say while the blossoms are still attached is a good time to pick them.
Tell me about the squash blossoms.
Well, I didn't know anything about cooking with squash blossoms before I went to culinary school, but there are a lot of uses all over the world for these. It's really popular to stuff a squash blossom. You can put them in soups and stews. You can chop them up and saute them in with the rest of your vegetables. When you pick them, you want to pick them young before they're totally open. Check for bugs. It sounds stupid, but there might be a bee or something trapped in there. You don't want that. Take out the little nub on the inside that has the pollen on it, because that's going to be tough and bitter. And you can really do a lot of different things with them. I'm featuring a recipe that's really popular in Mexico right now using the squash blossoms in quesadillas. And it's something different, but try it out. You can get squash blossoms if you don't grow them yourself. You can get them at some specialty stores. Some markets have them as well. They can be expensive because they don't have a very long shelf life. Once you pick them, you've got a couple days and that's it. At culinary school, we used to get them flattened between sheets of like acetate, like plastic, a little thicker than plastic wrap, and that's to keep them separated and to keep them fresh. But you might could ask a local farmer for some, because like I said, I didn't know that you could use them before, and probably a lot of other people don't know that you can cook with them either.
Any tips for cooking with squash?
Yeah, if you're picking your squash early, you really don't need to cook it very long. Something quick like a saute is great. If you're adding it to a soup or a stew that is it's going to remain whole, we can just add it very close to the end. In the vichyssoise, the soup that I make here, you're going to cook it for half an hour, which seems like a long time for something that tender, and it is, but you want to be able to puree the skins really well. So that's the only purpose for that. But yeah, you can cook it real quick. You can roast it. You can stuff it. You can fill it with whatever you'd like. It's really versatile vegetables.
Tell me a little bit more about that zucchini vichyssoise.
Well, the vichyssoise it's a cold soup. It's originally a cold potato leek soup, but this you're using squash and zucchini, or if you just want to use one or the other, that's fine. You're going to start out with with some leeks. You're just going to cut them up, and I like to soak them in cold water and just kind of run your hand through them, and that way the sand that's inside the leek is going to sink to the bottom, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of sand in your leek, and that's no good. Saute them with some potatoes, and you don't want to get any color, so it's more of a sweat. And then you're going to add your stock and your zucchini or squash and just let it go for a while and puree it till it's very smooth. Hit it with some cream, and there you go. Serve it cold. It's nice. It's really good for a summer dish.
This sounds interesting. Sausage and pepper stuffed zucchini.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways that you can stuff zucchini. Different vegetarian or meat based, either one. This uses. I thought this would appeal to more people instead of like your basic lamb and bulgur wheat that they do in the Mediterranean. This is just basic ground sausage. You can get anywhere. You can do hot or sweet, either way. You're going to use bell peppers and onions, and there's a little bit of tomato. There's some basil, breadcrumbs. It's fairly simple to do. Before you cook the meat, scoop out the guts of the zucchini, salt it a little bit, and that way while you're cooking, it gives it time to extract some of the moisture, and that way when you cook, you don't have a very soggy zucchini.
And finally, tell me about the zucchini bread.
Well, this bread uses both zucchini and squash, just like the others. It's Yeah, this was actually one of the first times I've had zucchini bread, and I was trying out some different recipes for it, and I didn't expect it to be so much like banana bread or pumpkin bread even. It's very moist. It's a quick bread, meaning it doesn't use yeast. It uses chemical leavening, but it's really good. It's different than I expected it to be. I expected it to be more savory, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of sugar, and it's good for a dessert or for a breakfast. My friend Sean says that he would only eat it with cream cheese, and I think that's a good call. Mascarpone cheese would also be good on it. But serve it warm, serve it cold. Either way, you can make muffins out of it. You can do a loaf and slice it up. It's really good.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks.